Hello everyone, this is TechBizmo, back with another video. In this video everyone, I'm going to be showing you guys how to install an Intel CPU. Anyways guys, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you want to do is just go ahead and grab your CPU handy. Actually, I should start from the actual closed position of the CPU socket. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Set my CPU down as well. Anyways, we are at the first step. So the first step is to go ahead and just push down this little retention arm. So just go ahead and push that down, then slide it out. Very self-explanatory, but, can be a little bit frustrating and a little bit hard to, to learn, if you're a computer newcomer. Well, anyways, just go ahead and do that. And then just after you've done that, make sure it's all the way back because I wasn't able to pick it up. Just go ahead and pick up the CPU bracket. So next what you want to do is go ahead and grab your CPU by the sides, like so. So just grab it by the sides. Try your best not to touch any of the LGA, the land grid array, pins on the CPU, as well as the motherboard. Actually, before I install this, I would actually like to explain this to you guys. So if you guys do not know, the majority of Intel CPUs, and it might even be the entirety of Intel CPUs, they use a socket interface called LGA or land grid array. Now, this is basically land grid array, or LGA is just a fancy way of saying all the pins on the motherboard itself are just laid out in a grid, as well as the CPU. So yeah, there's just something to let you guys know. I believe with AMD, the majority of their CPUs they use a socket interface known as PGA, or I believe it's pin grid array, which basically the pins are on the CPU rather than the motherboard itself, which actually makes it so the CPU is a lot less durable. It's a lot easier, a lot more fragile, and the motherboard itself is actually more durable. But yeah, what you want to do, just go ahead and handle your CPU. Be sure to handle it by the sides if you can. As I said, try your best not to touch any of these. Do not touch any of those because you can actually cause catastrophic damage to the motherboard, and I speak from experience. So anyways, what you want to do is you want to just go ahead, make sure your CPU is completely lined up to where it's supposed to be lined up, of course. And an easy way to find this out, to figure this out, is you see where I have little grooves in the actual CPU itself, right? Well, there should be little bumps on the CPU socket. Mine are pretty hard to see, but I can zoom in and show you guys there. So it's kind of a little bump there, then a little bump over on that side. So just, now we'll zoom out. But yeah, just try to line up the little slot with the bump on the motherboard. Try to line it up as nicely and as precisely as you possibly can. So just carefully set it in the socket. Just drop it in there. And once you have done that, here's a little advice. Do not push on the CPU. I'm serious. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, do not push on the CPU, because not only can that cause catastrophic damage to the motherboard, that actually can, believe it or not, can cause damage to the CPU, to the processor itself. But it's actually definitely most likely that you're going to cause damage to the socket on an Intel motherboard. But yeah, anyways, after that said, you can go ahead and just put this down. Just make it as centered as you possibly can, like so. And as I said earlier, don't push on this either. Just try to get it as centered as you possibly can. So, yeah. Now, since it's more zoomed in, just, as I said, carefully set that down. As I said, don't push at all. If you can, don't push, which I'm assuming you can not push. So, now just go ahead and take your retention arm and push that down. You can see what I was talking about earlier. This little retention mechanism is pushing down the actual bracket, this bracket right here. So yeah, just go ahead and do that, like so. And by the way, it'll feel like you're breaking the motherboard, but just keep persuading yourself to keep going. until you finally got it under that little metal bracket right there. And there you guys go. You are done installing your Intel CPU. If everything went as planned, your computer, after you, of course, install your heatsink, and your thermal paste, which, by the way, I already have. I'm not going to clean that off, because I only took off my, my CPU, heatsink just so I could make this video, so I'm not going to be cleaning off the thermal compound. Rather, that'll be a future video for you guys. But yeah, just install your CPU fan and your CPU heatsink, and then try firing it up, and cross your fingers that it works. Thanks for watching.